Well, welcome back. Just like that, the left's long national nightmare is over. Jimmy Kimmel is back, and along the way, he became the one thing the left loves. He gathered the ace of spades in the victimhood deck. He became a martyr. Here's how he addressed the comments responsible for getting him yanked off the air.
It was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family and asking for compassion, and I meant it, and I still do. Nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual. That was really the opposite of the point I was trying to make, but I understand that to some that felt either ill-timed or unclear, or maybe both. And for those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset. If the situation was reversed, there's a good chance I'd have felt the same way. I don't think the murderer who shot Charlie Kirk represents anyone. This was a sick person who believed violence was a solution, and it isn't. Ever.
To be clear, I don't question the authenticity of Jimmy Kimmel's emotions. As someone who does not want to share their emotions on television, that rule for me has been tested over the past couple of months from Kerrville to Utah. I can only assume what I see there in Jimmy Kimmel is his humanity. But that humanity, and even if he has their authentic emotion, doesn't protect him from his lies. It was his intention to suggest the killer came from half of America. And those lies continued last night for Jimmy Kimmel.
The President of the United States made it very clear he wants to see me and the hundreds of people who work here fired from our jobs. Our leader celebrates Americans losing their livelihoods because he can't take a joke. We have to speak out against this because he's not stopping.
Nope. This was never about a joke, Jimmy. This was about the lie you used to set up the joke, suggesting that Charlie Kirk's assassin came from within MAGA. CNN's Jake Tapper looked at this entire affair involving Jimmy Kimmel and called it the worst violation of free speech in his lifetime.
I thought it was pretty much the most direct infringement by the government on free speech that I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what Tapper might have seen over the course of his some 60-odd years, but I could really survey this landscape over the course of, say, 24 hours, the day that he there was on a late night program, because it was the very same day that Google admitted that they were censoring content at the behest of the Biden administration. Here's what Google had to say. The tech giant revealed the Biden administration pressured them to censor everyday Americans and remove content that did not, I highlight, did not violate YouTube's policies. The company also telling lawmakers public debate should never come at the expense of relying on authorities and pledging to never use third-party fact checkers as well to reinstate impacted accounts. You see, the FCC, looking at the content of a legalized, granted monopoly over public airways, as is the case with CBS, NBC, and ABC, is much different than the government speaking to a non-regulated industry in the private sector on the internet and saying, take down this private citizen. So Mr. Tapper missed the biggest, perhaps, violation of free speech that very same day. A lawyer for Alphabet said it's unacceptable and wrong when any government, including the Biden administration, attempts to dictate how the company moderates content, and the company has consistently fought against those efforts on First Amendment grounds. All of this, by the way, I'm sure this conversation as well, right over the head of Kamala Harris.
What they have done is they are using fear and the threat of fear to silence their critics.
Okay. And then there is Democrat James Clyburn, who, I'm sure he's applied this evenly. It's just different, he says, when it's jokes.
I don't think they're the same, simply because Biden, if any of this took place, these weren't jokes. This wasn't a TV show. This was a pandemic. And we didn't need to have misinformation going out about this pandemic. There was enough coming from the president at the time. Put Clorox in your veins? That's the kind of foolishness.
Oh, I get it. I can see the rules now. Lie, but then call it a joke. I guess we all should have learned from Jon Stewart. Something tells my next guest is going to disagree with those comments from the congressman. It is investigative journalist and the publisher of the Twitter Files, Matt Taibbi, who joins me now. Matt, in a way, this Google YouTube story, I am concerned, lands like a thud, perhaps to many watching, because it feels repetitive and something that we already knew, but it's still a huge admission from Google.
It is. So you think about the three big internet platforms, Google, Facebook, and Twitter. Facebook has already made an admission through Mark Zuckerberg that it underwent pressure at the behest of the Biden administration. We had the Twitter Files already under Elon Musk that showed widespread censorship of a variety of topics, including COVID. And now Google caps off the big three with, I think, the most sweeping and broad admission of the three, saying that it underwent repeated and sustained pressure during the COVID period. And it's so frustrating, Will. There were thousands of people who were yanked off social media, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Joke content was removed, memes were removed at the White House. All this stuff openly had happened, and they're complaining about a talk show host who was sort of fired for a couple of days. Like, it's not even close to the same thing yet. They're not even in the same ballpark, and the weeping and rending of garments is beyond belief.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel is a First Amendment martyr, and that's what they always needed, that ace of spades for victimhood. Always check out Matt, by the way, at racket.news. Matt, so great to see you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Will.
Hey, it's Will Cain. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Cain podcast for full episodes right now.